Welcome to Jeremy Long Show.
Hi there, and welcome to the Jeremy Long Show. I am your host, Jeremy Long, and quite frankly, I have a bone to pick here on tonight's episode. I want to discuss the illustrious world of voice acting and another little thing called recognition. Recognition for hard work and true talent. Allow me to explain. Countless children grow up in front of the television watching dozens of cartoons each week. They would watch shows with characters that we still love today. These beloved characters are voiced by the great talents of professional voice actors, and I, personally, feel as though their talents go underappreciated by a majority of the public. These children, regardless of which generation, will always remember these voices. The voices stick with them, but they are likely to never know the names of the extremely talented actors behind the voices. Of course, this is simply my own opinion, and something that I took notice of over the past few years. So in order to either substantiate my claims or receive an opposing viewpoint, I spoke with a few of these talented voice actors myself in order to get their opinions on the issue and see exactly what it means to be a professional voice actor. First, I spoke to Bob Bergen, who is most known for
Looney Tunes, probably Porky Pig. I've also done Tweety, Marvin the Martian, Speedy Gonzales, Henry Hawk, Sylvester Jr.
and maybe lesser known for
maybe Bucky the Squirrel in The Emperor's New Groove, the little squirrel. Kronk, played by Patrick Warburton, will say squeak, squeak, and squeak, squeak, and Bucky goes.
When I asked him what he thought about my claim of voice actors not getting enough recognition, he immediately gave me a whole other way of looking at the issue.
It's voiceover. You know, you're behind the scenes. You don't go into voiceover to be recognized. You go into voiceover because you love it. So if you're going into anything in show business to be recognized, you're going to be pretty disappointed. You don't go into the arts for recognition. You go into the arts because you have to. If you're an artist, you have to create. That's what fulfills you, not any fame or monetary return.
I tend to agree with Bob. You shouldn't do any job solely for the money or fame that may come along with it. You should do a job because you love it. I also spoke to Rob Paulsen, who is most known for which roles?
At the risk of sounding arrogant, several. I don't mean to do that. I've been really fortunate. So you folks would probably know me best for Animaniacs, and Pinky and the Brain, and, oh gosh, Jimmy Neutron, and Fairly Odd Parents. I was Pinky on Pinky and the Brain, and Yakko on Animaniacs, but then before you came along, I was Raphael in the original Ninja Turtles, and what's kind of cool about my job now is that I get to be a Turtle a second time, because Turtles is back on Nickelodeon, and I'm Donatello this time.
Wait, Rob played two separate Ninja Turtles 25 years apart? Now that's great voice acting.
I'm a two-time turtle, and I figure if I live to be 100, I can knock all four of them out.
When I asked Rob to give a sample of his voices for us, he replied by saying,
Oh, I'd be happy to give you a sample. Yakko just pops out any time. Let me see, I can conjure up Pinky. It's not really early, yeah, but it's early for Pinky. And let's see, Kyle Weaver, that's an easy one, because he's just kind of laid back, so if you've ever seen Jimmy Neutron, there's a little fat guy with an inhaler. And the sad thing is, he probably gets more chicks than I do. I know. Yeah, between Yakko and Pinky and Kyle and Donatello and Raphael, they just all kind of bang around in my head, and I can call them up personally whenever I need to.
What's funny is that Rob actually shared the same opinion as Bob Bergen.
And regardless of whether you do it for money or not, often the best reason to do it is, as they say, the art for the sake of the art. It's just so much fun.
Afterwards, I spoke to Kevin Shinick, most popular for...
At this point, I'd say it's for Mad, the animated sketch comedy show that I have on Cartoon Network. I've also worked on Robot Chicken, and I still work on Robot Chicken.
Kevin reinforced the point that voice acting is not a job you go into to be recognized.
I don't know anybody who would say, no, I don't want to be famous for this, but at the same token, I think we've chosen a field which allows us to have anonymity.
Newcomer to the voice acting world, Vince Casso, currently most known for the extremely popular web series The Guild, shares why he decided to recently make the switch from on-camera acting to voiceover work.
I really prefer it in a lot of ways because you are only limited by what you can do with your voice, and your voice is obviously much more variable than your face. if I need to play some sort of weird, creepy, shrewd scientist or some demonic entity or what have you, I probably wouldn't get cast for a role like that if I was on camera, because they cannot make me look like that. I wouldn't fit it. But if I'm doing voiceover, as long as I can mock up a personality and a voice that would suit the character, I can play whatever the hell I want to play. And that's really, for me, the beauty of it.
Comedian and actor Blake Clark, who is most known for...
Probably either The Waterboy or 51st Dates, which are two Sandler movies, or the Home Improvement, Harry the Hardware Guy on Home Improvement.
And known in the voice acting world for...
Oh, definitely Slinky Dog.
In the newest Toy Story film.
Toy Story 3, my friend was Slinky in Toy Story 1 and 2. Jim Varney died, and I got his part. And when I went in for the audition, they said, there were others who were more exact in the impression. Like with most voiceovers I do, like with Rango, the character I played, that was just, whatever I wanted to do. It's me, my voice. But with Toy Story 3, I have to do Varney. I have to make, what time is it? Is Zorro on? Why don't you make some fudge? What time is it? So I have to kind of do that voice. Because that's, he established Slinky Dog as that voice. So anyway, when I went in to do the audition, they said there were other people who had it more perfect, the impression of him, but that there was something that, something I had, some quality that they liked. So I said, well, maybe it's because him and I were good friends. So
Blake agrees 100% with Vince when he says that you could essentially play any role in voice acting as long as you have the talent to do so.
It's a lot harder to break into. You have people that's all they do, and then you have big stars, that get millions of dollars for doing, because they have recognizable voices. And then you have people like me who just kind of supplement their income with doing it. It's harder to. I think it's actually harder to get into voiceover than it is, regular acting, because just by virtue of being on camera, it sort of winnows out certain people for certain roles. Whereas animation, you can be any age, any ethnicity, basically any sex. It's less exact. I think to be a really good voiceover actor, it might be more demanding than regular acting, because you don't have any other sense. It's just sound. Whereas with film acting, you can say one thing and look a different way and all that stuff, and factors into it. But with the voiceover, it's just you. But I think that some of the things that you can do somehow translates into, like if you are smiling when you do the voiceover, it somehow translates. It somehow comes across that way.
Vince agrees that there is less recognition in voice acting, but that doesn't mean that you go completely unrecognized.
You do have less recognition, but you still have an extremely devoted core fan base who's just as excited to meet you as long as they realize who you are.
Bob Camp is most known for being the co-creator and creative director on the hit 90s cartoon Ren and Stimpy. Though Bob has done voices himself on Ren and Stimpy and other shows, he is more known in the animation world as a cartoonist for shows and movies. Bob explains why he loves working with voice actors.
I really love working with voice actors. It's one of my favorite parts of the animation process. It's just awesome. It's really fun and creative, and you can really bring a lot to your characters if you really know how to work with the actors.
Kevin Shinick believes that not just anyone can be a voice actor, although many may think that.
I think it's one of those things where I think a lot of people think they can do it, but it's not always as easy as it looks, and that goes for, there are some great actors. I brought in some celebrities who are really wonderful or really great actors on television or film, but then you get into a booth and you realize they're not exactly great voice actors.
Kevin's point on celebrities who believe they can do voice acting until they actually get in the booth and see how different it is brings up my next issue. For the most part, television cartoons are still dominated by the voice actors, with a few exceptions. However, animated blockbuster films have been getting name actors, on-screen A-list celebrities, to do the voices of the main characters in their films. This leaves few voices left in the animated films for the industry professionals. It keeps happening more and more in recent years. This goes way back, too. All the way back to the days of Toy Story with Tim Allen, Tom Hanks, and Don Rickles, even The Lion King with Whoopi Goldberg, Steve Buscemi, James Earl Jones. In fact, right around that time is when it really started becoming popular to begin casting on-screen celebrities as the voices instead of the professional voice actors. About 20 years ago, right around the early 90s. Seriously, before that, it was pretty much unheard of to have any kind of big hit celebrity doing voices in an animated film. While doing some research for this piece, a single film kept rearing its head in practically everything I read. Almost everyone agrees that the rise of celebrity voice actors can be traced back to one single film. Aladdin. Even though Aladdin has some of the more top-notch voice acting professionals cast in it, there is one character who stands out among others and is the first thing anyone thinks of when they hear the name Aladdin, even before Aladdin himself. You all know who I'm talking about. None other than Robin Williams as the voice of the genie. The success in box office numbers and marketing the character of the genie was substantial enough to make Hollywood begin to cast celebrities more often, and it only grew as time went by. I wanted to see what the professional voice actors thought of this unfortunate marketing ploy and whether or not it made them upset. Rob was the most vocal about his feelings on this issue. He admits that it can be frustrating at times, but that he chooses not to get too worked up over it.
It used to make me a little angry, and angry is not the right word, because first of all, I'm pretty practical about what I do. Nobody ever shoved a gun in my mouth to be an actor. I'm here because I want to be. So if it's not played the way I want to play it, no, it's too damn bad.
He continues by explaining what he chooses to do instead of getting worked up over the issue.
I would get frustrated. That's a better word. I'd get frustrated that celebrity talent was getting all this money and all these great opportunities and all that to do stuff that I could do. And not just me and Billy, the people who talked about Jeff, and a lot of us can do this like one off the log, because that's what we've dedicated our careers to. And but it's not up to us. If you've got the money and you want to spend it on Brad Pitt, that's fine. So then I resolved a few years ago, instead of being frustrated, I said, okay, look, here's the deal. The only thing I can do to combat that, I mean that in quotes, it's not like a big deal. You know, it's show business. It's not real life. So the only thing I can do to kind of push back is be so good at my job that producers will say, yeah, I could use Rob, and he could give me half a dozen voices for a whole lot less than $5 million. But I just really want to spend it on Brad. Okay, great, that's fine. All I can do is the very, very best I can do, maybe even try to do even more, so that you're so good that they can't not pay attention to you.
Rob also shares a story with us to help drive home his point.
From an artistic or the technical standpoint, I don't think that it's going to make a hell of a difference. And I have anecdotal, maybe even empirical data to back up my contention. And that is that I've been in movies, Jimmy Neutron, as a matter of fact, 10 or 12 years ago, I don't know. But Jimmy Neutron, Boy Genius, was a movie first, and it came out at a pop, $100 million, got nominated for an Oscar, spawned 2 TV series, and had no real celebrity talent in the main characters. Then I did another movie a few years ago called The Ant Bully that was produced by Tom Hanks. It had Meryl Streep, Julia Roberts, Nicolas Cage, Alan Cumming, and the thing tanked, and it's done in 2 weeks. So it really isn't about having these in that.
That is a very valid point, in my opinion, and one that Tom Kenny shares. Tom Kenny is the voice of SpongeBob and hundreds of others, who told me that Hollywood must learn that an animated film can hold its own without the added insurance of celebrities doing the voices. The SpongeBob SquarePants movie did fantastic in the box office. It brought in just as much, if not more than, some of these recent animated films with a string of celebrities in them, said Kenny. It just goes to show that you don't need these Hollywood names as a crutch. A film can stand just fine on its own as long as it is made well. Couldn't have said it better myself, Tom. Blake Clark also agrees with Rob when he says that the rise of celebrity voices in Hollywood animated films kind of grinds his gears a little bit, but he doesn't let it get to him that much.
Yeah, that kind of froze my balls a little bit. I mean, you know, you're sitting there and you're watching the commercial, and it's Donald Sutherland, and you go, how much more money does the guy need? You know, I mean, Jesus Christ. He's on TV, he's on film, how much more damn money does Clooney need, you know? Mm-hmm. But I don't blame them for doing it. I don't, you know, if somebody's going to offer me $3 million to do a series of commercials and be a spokesperson for some car company, what am I going to say? Oh, you know, I don't know if I really deserve it because I'm not really a voice actor. No, I'm going to say, hell yeah, I'll take it. You know, I don't begrudge anybody their success in any way in this business. It's hard enough as it is.
In fact, Kevin Shinick also agrees with Rob, Tom, and Blake.
You know, I understand why they do it. It's a marketing thing, and, you know, I mean, I don't know a kid who's going to not see Frozen because it doesn't have the celebrity names in it. You know what I mean? If they released Frozen with unknowns, I think just as many kids would go, but I think maybe parents might be skewed towards seeing more celebrities. I don't know why it works that way, to be honest. And in some cases, it is a shame.
As a newcomer to the voice acting world, Vince gives his 2 cents on the issue as well.
My idea is that I really don't care who does a voice for a certain character. I don't care who they are, as long as they can portray the character well. And the issue that I've sometimes seen with bringing in sort of A-listers to do animated roles is they're so used to being on camera that they don't realize that when you're doing voiceover, your recording has to be just a little bit larger than life. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it translates kind of in a dull way to the medium.
Vince raises a valid point. Who cares as long as they do a good job, right? That's the problem with using celebrities, though. Some can do a wonderful job, but others are so used to doing on-camera acting that they are lost in the voice recording booth. Bob Camp has a story about just that, as well as weighing in his opinion on the issue.
That's kind of a pet peeve of mine that really pisses me off, you know. I worked on the film Robots. Chris Wedge told me a story that when he was directing Halle Berry, she was in a recording booth, and he kept trying to get her to do a line, and she kept giving this real flat delivery, and he kept feeding her the line, and she kept giving the same kind of flat delivery, and he said, "What's going on?" And she goes, "Well, I'm currently in this movie, and I'm in character, and I can't break character."
Wow, that story still shocks me. When you are doing a job, you have to give it your all, 100%. With all of this being said, none of this is to bash on-screen celebrities. Please don't misunderstand me. I am just as much of a fan as the next guy of on-screen actors and what they do. And many professional voice actors are big fans as well. There is no denying that Robin Williams was a fantastic genie in Aladdin. He gave the character the craziness and hyperactive energy that made it so memorable even to this day. And Mike Myers is a great Shrek, and Tim Allen was a great Buzz Lightyear. All of this is very true. But when it all boils down to it, Tim Allen, Antonio Banderas, Robin Williams, Will Smith, all of these celebrities, they only have one voice, themselves. And when most professional voice actors have 1,000 voices, it is hard not to feel like their great talent is squandered. What's that you say, Porky Pig?
Thanks for listening to the Jeremy Long Show. And that's all, folks.
That's right, Porky. That is indeed all, folks. With Winston Simmons Productions and the Jeremy Long Show, I am your host, Jeremy Long, and I'm out of here because I have nothing more to say.